Have you ever worried about how you sound in English? Not what you say, but how you sound. Your accent, your pauses, your voice. Maybe you've thought, do I sound less professional? Less competent? Less smart? Yeah, same. I used to overthink this all the time. But one day, something clicked, and I realized something a little unexpected. My accent wasn't holding me back. It was actually helping me. Hi, I'm Karin. I'm a communication strategist from Sweden, and I help international professionals speak English clearly, calmly, and confidently at work. And today, we're talking about something many of us secretly stress about: our accent. You know, that tiny voice in your head that goes, do I sound weird? For years, I thought my accent was something I needed to fix. Now, I kind of see it as my secret advantage. I remember this so clearly. At the previous job, there was a colleague who was a native English speaker. He talked a lot, fast, confident, non-stop, like 0 commas, just paragraphs. And I remember sitting in meetings thinking, wow, he sounds so smart. He's so articulate. He must really know his stuff. Meanwhile, I spoke slower, paused more, sometimes searched for words, and honestly, I felt behind. Like I was the slow one in the room. But after a few months, I started noticing something interesting. When I actually listened to what he said, not how fast he said it wasn't that different from my ideas. He wasn't smarter. He was just comfortable. It was his first language. Of course, it sounded effortless. If Swedish were the meeting language, I'd probably sound like that too. And that realization was weirdly freeing, because my slower, more careful way of speaking, it wasn't a flaw. It was just my style, and sometimes it was actually better. We often think native is better and accent is worse, but that's such a myth. An accent doesn't mean less competence. It usually means more intention, and that works very much in your favor. Advantage number 1, you sound more intentional. Because English isn't my first language, I don't just talk to fill the silence. I choose my words, sometimes very carefully, sometimes maybe too carefully, but the result, I'm clearer. While some native speakers ramble or improvise, I tend to get to the point, use simpler words, and structure my thoughts. And honestly, that doesn't sound non-native. It sounds professional. Advantage number 2, people listen more. This one surprised me, but it's true. When your voice sounds a little different, people pay attention. It stands out in a good way. I've had people quote things I said days later, and I thought, wait, you actually remember that? Not because my English was perfect, but because they were really listening. Different is memorable, and memorable is powerful. Advantage number 3, you often sound calmer. When we speak a second language, we naturally slow down. We pause, we think. And you know what that sounds like? Calm. And calm sounds confident. Fast doesn't automatically sound smart. Sometimes, fast just sounds stressed. Slow and grounded, that sounds trustworthy. So that thing you're trying to fix might already be helping you. Advantage number 4, It shows courage and effort. Also, can we just acknowledge something? Speaking another language at work is kind of brave. You're literally doing mental gymnastics in public every day. Thinking, translating, structuring, and still trying to sound professional. That takes effort. And people see that. And honestly, most people respect it way more than you think. Advantage number 5. It's part of you. And maybe my favorite one. Your accent tells a story. Where you're from, who you are. Sometimes I think about how Swedish sounds. Det är så här jag låter när jag pratar svenska. Lite mjukare, lite sjungande. It's kind of melodic, right? Melody, singing. And that melody follows me into my English. And honestly, I kind of like that. If everyone sounds the same, no one is memorable. Your voice is yours. Why erase that? For years, I tried to hide my accent. Now I think, wait, this is the one thing in the room no one else has. Why should I give that up? These days, before a meeting, I don't think, I hope I sound native, because that's never happening anyway. Instead, I think, I hope I'm clear, calm, helpful. That's what people remember, not your vowels. Sometimes I think back to that colleague, the fast one, effortless, native. I used to wish I sounded like him, but now I wouldn't trade. He had speed, I had intention. He spoke quickly, I made people listen. And in professional settings, clarity beats speed. Every time. So if you ever sit in a meeting thinking, they sound better than me, remember, they're not better. They're just comfortable. And you're doing something braver. Your accent isn't proof that you don't belong. It's proof of everything you've learned. And maybe it's not your limitation. Maybe it's your advantage. So tell me, how do you feel about your accent when you speak English?